Hello everyone, this is Aiden with Aiden Plays Games, and I wanted to make a short video going over my first impressions of arguably the most controversial game of 2024, Dragon Age Veilguard. I, like many of you, saw all of the early access reviews and honestly was hoping I could refund the game based on the majority of the opinions, but after spending roughly 20 hours playing so far, I think the hate for Veilguard is getting taken a little far. I wanted to make this video for people to give my thoughts and opinions since I am sure many of you that were looking forward to playing but might be hesitant after all of the backlash that was received after early access. I do want to start with, I understand the disappointment that many reviewers had since after such a long hiatus of a new Dragon Age game, it was assumed that after all this time, Veilguard would be incredible. I also am not going to touch on BioWare's actions during the review process since I feel that many gamers honestly really don't care that much about it and purely care about the gameplay. Is this my favorite game in the franchise? No, it isn't, and I do feel like if you are a longtime Dragon Age player, you probably compare it to the games of old and think this is inferior to those. One of the biggest criticisms I have seen so far is related to the dialogue and not having the edge/darkness of a really great RPG. I do agree with this and think the dialogue is oftentimes pretty cheesy and wish there was more flexibility to make my character evil. Honestly, I think having Baldur's Gate 3 released last year really set this game up to fail, because that, in my opinion, is one of the greatest RPGs of all time, and what made it so great were those aspects. Baldur's Gate 3 introduced a vast majority of gamers to the RPG genre for the first time, and gamers who were excited for Veilguard to share those great same qualities were heavily let down. With that said, I still have been enjoying my time with Veilguard and seem to have the unpopular opinion that players should give this game a try. Again, I acknowledge that the dialogue is pretty disappointing, but to be honest, I can look past it. Yes, RPG games are much better when you can get invested in the cutscenes and characters, but I do not think it is bad enough to make the game not playable. There are aspects of the game that I feel have been done well, such as the combat system and how much variability there is in character builds. I personally have enjoyed taking the time to figure out how I want to build my character with gear and abilities. The skill tree is extremely vast and offers a great deal of customization to have your character play exactly how you want to. Do you want a warrior that specializes in ranged shield toss? You can build for that. Do you want a tank that is unkillable and rely on your companions to deal the majority of your damage? You can build for that. To me, that system is a major success and gives players control of how they want to play the game. The combat is probably my favorite part of Veilguard, and I really enjoy the massive battles and boss fights that you encounter. Figuring out my party composition has been really fun, and creating powerful combos and synergies has felt rewarding. I was initially worried after watching early footage of how I would like the tab spell method and thought it would feel pretty clunky, but after using it, I've gotten the hang of it and don't feel like it ruins the combat experience in any way. In my opinion, what the dialogue and cutscenes lack, the combat and character customization make up for it. I also have had fun exploring the world and seeing all the different locations and areas. The main storyline and side quests have you revisit and unlock new zones within locations, giving you the feeling of progressing and navigating the worlds little bits at a time. Again, I wanted to keep this video short and provide my thoughts on Veilguard for players who are on the fence after seeing all of the initial reviews and criticisms. By no means do I think this is the greatest Dragon Age game released, but I also feel that all of the negative feedback and people saying the game is horrible is not fair either. I personally would recommend picking up Veilguard if you are looking for an RPG game to play based on my experience so far, but know there are some aspects that are lackluster, and by no means is it perfect or Game of the Year worthy. What gaming comes down to for me is asking myself, am I having fun playing this game? And for Veilguard, my answer is yes. Stay tuned for my full review that I will post after completing the game, going into much more depth about all of the features and my official rating, but I really wanted to get this out there to share my initial experience. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments if there are other games you would like to see tips for, or upcoming titles that you are excited about playing. Don't just play games, master them. Subscribe and level up with Aiden Plays Games.